The weather forecast with MTN.
Hi there, and a super exciting moment to have you join me once again on the weather forecast. I believe you are having a beautiful Sunday. Tonight we expect a calm weather to dominate the entire nation, and temperatures would get to a minimum of 14 degrees in the Adamawa region. The north, far north, northwest, west and the east regions expect as low as 16 to 17 degrees, with the rest of the nation, including the center, south, southwest and littoral regions, would expect temperatures to get as low as between 20 to 23 degrees. In detail, we take you over to the far north region, where we expect a calm weather tonight with no chance of precipitation, and till morning the same experience is expected with temperatures between 18 to 21 degrees. Next, we go on to the Adamawa region, where no showers are expected in any of the towns tonight, and a similar situation to progress till morning with temperatures as low as between 17 to 18 degrees. And we end with the south region, where we may have no precipitation tonight, and by morning a similar situation is expected, although with a fully clouded sky. So I advise you to find time and go see what the Mambala waterfall looks like. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
The interministerial team to the far north region has insisted on security and the constitution of vigilante groups as the country is getting ready to hold the first ever regional council elections. The Metropolitan Archbishop of Yaoundé, His Grace Jean Barga, takes a missionary trip to Emombo 1 in Yaoundé to see how the Christians are faring with the gospel and to pray for them. Plus sports, PWG of Bamenda suffered the 0-1 defeat today to Kaiser Chiefs of South Africa in the CAF Champions League preliminary round, first leg tie at home in Limbe. Good evening and welcome to the 7:30 news. I am Benen Bumagana. I am in Yaoundé.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
And let's open with news from the far north region. The head of the interministerial team to the far north region, Territorial Administration Minister Paul Atanganji, has instructed the local authorities of the far north region to set up security and vigilante groups as the nation gets ready for the first ever regional elections. The interministerial team leader met with leaders of commercial motorbike sector to encourage them to bring order to their work. Still talking about the visit of the interministerial team. It is coming after the September visit when floods destroyed bridges and some infrastructure in the far north region. This time, they are going up to the far north with instructions from the President of the Republic to ensure that these infrastructure be reconstructed. Let's follow up this report from Constantine Baum.
The rains have gone, giving way for construction work on the Pala Bridge to start. The head of state made a promise to construct the bridge, and his eyes on the works are through these ministers who have come to evaluate the progress made so far.
I have instructed that they should be working day and night. All the traffic is going by the Pont Vert now. We have to reduce it. Concerning also the Pont Pala, the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, has already made available the funds, 6 million.
The President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya, wants to be sure that his instructions are applied scrupulously, especially in a road of high demand. You know that this road is a very high demand. All the vehicles going to Kuseri Chat, they pass through here. So if these people stay for too long without a bridge, it becomes a problem. So we want to assure the population that the minister has an eye on it, and he has a very competent team, and they are doing a wonderful job.
Day one of the visit wraps up with this security meeting between Minister Thanganji and his far north collaborators and security forces as the region prepares for upcoming regional election and end-of-year festivities.
For latest from the National Assembly, we hear that 4 cabinet ministers have defended their budgets today before the Finance and Budget Committee of the National Assembly. Amongst them is the Minister of Basic Education with one of the largest envelopes, that is 232.7 billion CFA francs. Charles Ebune has an update of events at the National Assembly earlier today.
To transform Cameroon's economy to become an emerging country by 2035, the next 10-year development program is anchored within the framework of the National Development Strategy recently adopted and launched in the country. And for the very first time, the Ministry of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development came to defend the first budget for that implementation.
We have to encourage, attract more investors in our economy by improving on our business environment, by realizing all the structural reform necessary and having them bring in a lot of resources to produce more for Cameroon and export what we are producing and transforming.
And one of the key pillars for Cameroon to become an emerging country is the decentralization process, whose final phase will be completed with the holding of the first ever regional council elections days from now. And the boss of that ministerial department came to defend the budget for that purpose at the ministry.
The Constitution provides that we have local councils and regional councils. With the putting in place of the regional councils, we think that we are going to say we are okay now with the process.
Over the years now, the modernization of the Cameroonian public service has been a permanent quest, especially in making services closer and closer to the people. And the Minister for Public Service and Administrative Reform came before the Finance and Budget Committee of the National Assembly to defend the budget to reinforce that strategy.
We would like to continue to dematerialize and simplify the procedures. It's very important because the objective is to go with our service until where the user is.
The last ministerial department to be before the Budget and Finance Committee of the National Assembly before news time today was the Ministry of Basic Education.
We have to build piece by piece every year, and we are very glad of the work done in the appreciation of the MPs.
About now, the Minister of Secondary Education, Nalova Liyonga, is before the Finance and Budget Committee of the National Assembly to be followed late by that of Labour and Social Security.
And we'll definitely come back to the reports telling us about these ministers who still had to defend their budget or who are doing so this night. The 7th Supervision Team of the Youth Agro-Pastoral Entrepreneurship Promotion Program, dubbed PATYCHOU, and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, FIDA, have paid a field visit to some youths in Douala who received funding from the program to develop their agro-pastoral projects. The aim of the visit was to evaluate the level of progress made this year by the entrepreneurs. So what did they find out? Cynthia Etim.
31-year-old Urera Bello is of the Mbororo community. She fled the troubled Northwest region and found refuge in Douala. Urera benefited from the 2020 funding and training of the Youth Agro-Pastoral Entrepreneurship Promotion Program and the International Fund for Agricultural Development to set up her agribusiness. Today, she owns an enterprise specialized in the distribution of fresh and smoked fowl. Meantime, 28-year-old Martin Elomo Mbida manages a restaurant specially designed for the sales of chicken for over a year now, thanks to the support program.
I received a financial assistance of 1.2 million CFA francs to start up my business. I have recruited 2 other youths. PA Jeune supported me to stand again.
The joint supervision team from PA Jeune and FIDA, led by Caroline Onanina, came to evaluate progress made and take stock of challenges faced by the entrepreneurs.
The National Anti-Corruption Commission, CONAC, has set up an election watch unit with a hotline 1517 to denounce acts of corruption relating to the regional council elections. Ebenezer Kanga was at CONAC to see how the election watch unit is functioning, and he brought back this report.
This is the hotline office of the National Anti-Corruption Commission, CONAC. It is in this office that calls denouncing acts of corruption relating to the regional council elections are received. There are 4 terminals in the office, meaning that 4 different calls can be received at the same time.
So now we have had about 100 denunciations coming from all the regions that we have covered during this campaign.
To CONAC, people who corrupt their ways to the regional councils cannot bring the development highly expected by the population.
If we can find something like that, we will be informed and we will send to the field those who are competent so as to do the work about that and send them to the courts so as to respond about what they have done.
To denounce any act of corruption relating to the regional council elections, therefore, call the CONAC toll-free number 1517.
438 trainees from the National School of Administration and Magistracy, ENAM, have ended a military initiative training at the National Armed Forces Training Perfection Center in Ngaundere in the Adamawa region. The closing ceremony was chaired by the Commander of Military Training Centers, Major General Philip Mpai, in the presence of the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms and the Director General of ENAM. Elise Wajibanmia reports.
438 trainees of the National School of Administration and Magistracy expressing joy after successfully going through a 45-day intense military training. While at the National Armed Forces Training and Perfection Center, Sepefan Ngaundal, the men and women were able to master shooting and fighting techniques.
We have learned what truly means to submit to an authority, and we have also learned how to be patriotic to our nation.
During the official closing ceremony presided by the Commander of Military Training Centers, Major General Philip Pai, and attended by several dignitaries, the cordial rapport between the Ministry of Defense and that of Public Service was praised.
I know it's not easy, but all of them have continued until the end.
After the military initiation training, the 438 students will continue with academic training at ENAM's campus in Yaoundé.
Congratulations to them. 7,500 households in the town of Betua will in the days ahead benefit from financial assistance from the Safety Net project to enable them better manage the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on economic and social activities. The announcement was made during a meeting to identify the targeted neighborhoods chaired by Governor Gregoire Mvongo. Tala LT now reports.
This program of the Safety Net project seeks to provide financial assistance to persons of the private and informal sector whose economic activities have suffered as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The beneficiaries, according to the National Coordinator of the Safety Net project, Michel Jo, will each receive 180,000 francs during a 3-month period to help pay pay their bills, buy food, pay house rents, and provide health care to their families. East Governor Gregoire Vongo described the project as a timely venture which will put smiles on the faces of thousands whose lives have slowed down ever since the coronavirus hit the region. This project is part of a 16 billion CFA franc special humanitarian assistance provided by the head of state to assist families in the 10 regional capitals of Cameroon, plus the town of Limbe, recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic.
And in the Adamawa region, medical personnel and mothers with premature babies in the Adamawa region have been receiving training on how to efficiently take care of these babies. The participants are also receiving lectures on how to avoid prematurity, a situation which has been persisting in the region. Sadu Yauba reports.
Premature babies at the Ngaoundere Regional Hospital. An average of 12 to 15 newborn babies are received monthly here, constituting 10% of patients. To scale down prematurity rate in the Adamawa, more than 100 women attend a capacity building workshop as 112 babies were born with the state of prematurity in 2020. The number has significantly increased because in 2019, out of 740, 118 have been declared premature.
We will also go to the southwest region. This time we're not talking about prematurity, we're talking about maternal mortality. And it has been noticed that the Ministry of Public Health is carrying out a lot of campaign to prevent the increase in the rate of maternity mortality. Let's follow this report from CRTV Southwest in Boya.
As per available statistics, the rate of maternal and child mortality in the southwest region is still a cause for concern.
The maternal mortality rate is 432 per 100,000 deaths within the southwest region. And our target will be to have less than 70 children per 100,000 live deaths.
According to the regional delegate, it is therefore important that major stakeholders come together to review and seek new ways in order to reduce these deaths.
Making sure we adopt a multi-sectoral approach and also to lobby for more material and financial resources.
To the participants of the workshop, it is hoped the recommendations arrived at will go a long way to enable them provide more quality sexual and reproductive health services.
It's going to help us a lot to assess our effectiveness in the workplace.
Going by Vision 2030 of the United Nations Population Fund, the hope of these health experts is that all be put in place in due course to reduce mother and perinatal mortality rate in the southwest region.
The council executives of the Bafoussam 2 municipality have been officially commissioned into their functions. While installing Jerone Levescout, the senior divisional officer of the MIFI, Mr. Shaibu, called on the new mayor to make a difference by using his intelligence as well as background to develop his municipality. Che Tebok reports.
The newly installed executives of the Bafoussam 2 Municipal Council are now fully in charge of the affairs of their municipality. The theme, headed by Mayor Dieudonné Levescout, when commissioned, was called upon by the senior divisional officer of the MIFI, Mr. Shaibu, to bring change through meaningful developmental projects. The new batch of leaders is fully aware of the challenge that awaits them. They are coming into office with an action plan.
My plan of action is roads, electricity, clean water, health.
In attendance at these events were traditional, municipal and administrative authorities from in and around the municipality. It was a colorful ceremony punctuated by dance styles.
On to one of our lead stories, parishioners of the St. Mary Mother of God's Parish, Nkolbek and Member 1 in Yaoundé, have been called upon to live by the spirit of unity, irrespective of their cultural and linguistic backgrounds. The Metropolitan Archbishop of Yaoundé, His Grace Jean Barga, was speaking this Sunday during a pontifical mass marking his maiden visit to that parish. Gerald Nanje Eyambe reports.
A red letter day in the life of the St. Mary Mother of God parish in Kolbeck as they welcomed the chief shepherd of the Archdiocese of Yaoundé, His Grace Jean Barga, in this maiden visit. In his homily, the prelate enjoined parishioners to demonstrate the spirit of living together and encourage those affected by the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic.
After listening to the word of God, after many steps of dialogue, we can now announce the truth, the gospel, and this dimension of human being. That means that it's time for us to show our compassion to those who are suffering, to show our love to our brothers in the same quarters. We want that the church contributes as much as possible to build the unity in this quarter. At the end, we will welcome the Advent as this particular period of our liturgy in the Catholic Church.
It was equally an occasion for His Grace to examine the local reality of this pastoral zone.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
So, of course, let's cut into the second canto and talk about our fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Our tour to the different regions this Sunday takes us to the far north region, where health professionals have been working hard to stay the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's now join Baldwin Sama at the Public Health Emergency Center with his guest, Dr. Celine Chida, head of the Far North Regional Center for the Fight Against Pandemics. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Benin Bumagana. After the South region yesterday, Saturday, this Sunday, we take you over to the far north region of the country to get the latest updates as concerns the spread of the coronavirus as we meet our guest, Dr. Chida Celine Mairuzgu. She is the head of the Far North Regional Center for the Fight Against Epidemics. Dr. Chida Celine Mairuzgu, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Sama.
Tell us, Doctor, how stable is the epidemiological situation in the Far North region of the country?
The situation in Far North region is stable. We have registered our first case since 7 months ago, and now we have 700 cases. The evolution is, we have a small evolution, but it's not like the CRTV have predicted. So our evolution is, we are going on with the pandemic, but we are stable. All our cases are good. We are taking care of them, and we are not more restricting deaths.
And finally, Doctor, after the sudden rise in the number of persons tested positive, especially in the school milieu in the littoral and west regions of Cameroon, what precautions have you taken in the Far North region to avoid a similar happening in that part of the country?
Let us say that before the beginning of the pandemic in the Far North, after the beginning in the Cameroon and on the month of March, in the Far North we have already begun with the awareness campaign, and we are continuing to do it. And this awareness campaign it's going through with the support of all administrative, municipalities, parliamentary, religious and traditional authorities. And we are continuing to go in the community, involve health worker, community worker to sensitize people on the pandemic. And we know that in some regions, the cases are, we have the new cases and they are more. But in the Far North, we are still observing the the rules of the barrier measure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chida Selid Maivusgu, the head of the Center in the Far North region for the fight against epidemics. That's the situation in the Far North region of the country. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
And thank you very much, Baldwin Samafan Kemun. Let's talk some culture now, if you wish. The 11th edition of the Artwork Forum for Mode and Design, which animated this week in Yaoundé, has come to a close with Gaël Edou winning a cash prize of 4 million CFA francs. It was organized by the fashion designers of Cameroon, as we hear in this report by Gerald Nanje.
Night of Reckoning as the founding fathers appear in an admirable fashion which reflects the Cameroonian culture. This year, Gaël Edou clinched the coveted prize in her early 20s. The stylist blends the various materials. She will receive the colossal sum of 4 million francs CFA to accompany her in her future projects, thanks to the French Institute. At the level of the collection, there are numerous ideas with the style, color, highly appreciated. During the week-long activities, young and promising designers were drilled on the know-how of designing. Within 6 months, it takes nothing to accompany the initiators in this move, because it is not all about winning money. As the cuttings were finally drawn, Iman Aisi's collection were showcased.
Let's stay there and talk some music now. Cameroonian musician and great guitarist Henri Dikonge is staging a 3-day show in Yaoundé that is at the Vidéo Cultural Complex. It started since Friday, the 27th. Victor Siga followed the press conference where Henri Dikonge spoke about what he's planning to do these 3 days, and he prepared this report.
J'aurais aimé pouvoir porter ton nom et pouvoir avancer sans remise en question. Vous m'appelez X, vous m'appelez.
The press briefing was to set the pace for the 3-day show at the Cultural Complex Bebeto, beginning Friday, November 27. The artist exchanged with media men on the background of the show. He will be thrilling fans with songs selected from his 6 albums. Also announced was the celebration of the 25th anniversary of Henri Dikonge's music career, slated for January 12, 2021 in Douala.
On to this advertorial, the Douala 2 Sub-Divisional Council in the Littoral region has held its ordinary session to evaluate the midterm execution of the 2020 budget and vote for the 2021 budget. The council session was chaired by the Mayor of Douala 2, Denis Fampo, in the presence of the Senior Divisional Officer for the Vuri, Benjamin Botu. More on that story with you, Madon Kwele.
The Douala 2 Council is leaving no stone unturned to maintain its position as second cleanest locality in Cameroon, obtained at the end of the classification of clean cities of Cameroon. The 2021 budget, balanced in revenue and expenditure at the sum of over 2,800 million francs CFA, will be primarily devoted to investments. Although down by over 22,400,000 compared to the previous budget, it will allow the municipality to improve the well-being of the population under its jurisdiction. The Mayor of Douala 2, Denis Fampo, revealed that the COVID-19 pandemic caused some setbacks in the realization of certain projects in the course of the year. It is for this reason that the council was cautious enough in forging ahead with pivotal projects, including the construction of the Douala 2 Municipal Stadium, a home for young girls, public gardens, toilets, and the rehabilitation of some classrooms, to name but these. The Senior Divisional Officer for the Vuri, Benjamin Botu, who took part in this council session, expressed satisfaction with the points laid and performances attained by the mayor and her collaborators. He also called on all to pay their taxes as they envisage the effective implementation of the decentralization process, which they believe will ease work in the municipality. With all hands on deck, the mayor intends to contribute in the transformation of Douala 2 and the economic capital at large into a modern city.
Let's talk sports now. Cameroon League champions PWG of Bamenda have lost 0-1 to Kaizer Chiefs of South Africa in one of the first leg games of the CAF Champions League preliminary round. PWG couldn't overcome the 0-1 lead till the end of the game in Limbe. Romeo Kenya has highlights of the match in the following report.
Oh my God! Defender Derek Berinoy fails to rekindle hope for a possible equalizer for PWG of Bamenda. An unfortunate circumstance whose decor was initiated at the 83rd minute by Kaizer Chiefs defenseman Eric Matolo, banking on a tactical error to get the curtain raiser for the Amakosi. One goal down, the Abakwa boys lacked inspiration and precision to subdue the Soweto guys, though beautiful combinations from Chindo John Bosco, Chawa and Day Collins earlier sent strong signals in the first segment, but effort were dashed above the woodwork. Experienced keeper Etumelen Kome was equally a stumbling block for the Bamenda outfit, with a series of attempts on late finishing in his waiting hands. 16 years after reintegrating continental assignment, PWG of Bamenda will take on Kaizer Chiefs next Friday in the return leg confrontation of the CAF Champions League preliminary round in Johannesburg. A must-win match, at least with 2 goals, if they must keep hopes alive in the tournament.
Thank you very, very much, Romeo Keynes. With that report, that we come to the end of this edition of the 7:30 News. Lucrece Mebenga is going to be here for the 8:30 News. And right after that, you will meet Gladys Tata and Nicole Ludum for campaign news. As far as I'm concerned, I'll be back here on Friday. Keep watching the CRTV. God bless you.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing